I'm captivated.
Good afternoon and welcome to Woman Wednesdays here on Tea Time with Afternoon Social. We have our guest, Rose Caiazzo. For some reason I said it right on Monday, now I'm struggling. She's a consultant and founder of the Social Media Secrets Club, a voiceover artist, and a syndicated radio host. In the summertime, she's a mountain biking guide.
They don't work enough.
You don't work enough. And then she made a great transformation from the area of New York to the great outdoors of Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And now she's her own boss lady. And that's what we're talking about today on Woman to Woman Wednesdays, is being your own boss. Hashtag boss lady.
Right.
And so thank you for joining us again on Woman to Woman Wednesdays. And hi, Rose. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing really well. Thank you so much for having me again on your show. Super excited. Yep, that hashtag boss lady, and then there's hashtag like a boss, right?
Like a boss. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit of a story about being your own boss and how that has been a positive impact in your life, as well as maybe some struggles, and kind of share with our ladies what that's all about.
Absolutely. So I worked in the corporate world for 10 plus years, and I learned quite a bit. What I learned mostly was that people were stealing my ideas and taking them for their own. I didn't quite like that. But I still learned from male mentors a lot of how to do business and how to do it right. Mm-hmm. So I was very successful in the corporate world. In fact, so successful that they always gave me every new person to train. And I thought, this is weird. Like, how come I always have to be the one that trains? You know, because you're in your young 20s. I'm not getting any extra money. Like, how come I always have to do it? You know,
Right.
But really, what I was recognizing as I got older is that they were placing me in places of leadership because they could see it in me. And so I worked in the corporate world for, a little over 10 years. And then I got so fed up, Teresa, that I basically decided that I was going to become a guide, and I was going to leave. And I was going to just be a guide.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, how are you going to be a guide when you've never been a guide? And I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like I can go be a guide. And I wanted not any guide place to work. I wanted to work for Backroads. They're the biggest, number one active travel company in the United States. Mm-hmm. And so, here I am, 33 years old, and they're like hiring people fresh out of college, like 20-nothing-year-olds. And I'm like the oldest of the bunch, but I was able to do my storytelling in a way that was so compelling, they hired me, right? So here I am 10 years older than anybody else, but I'm doing all these trips, and they sent me to the area of Grand Teton National Park and Yellowstone National Park, which, by the way, my syndicated radio show is called Yellowstone Country with Jackson Hole Rose, because I live in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. But the moment, it was funny because when I was in with the active travel group of Backroads and, working for them, I remember them telling me, because first I was in California and I really loved it there, but I was allergic to something. Or obviously the universe plans it as it's supposed to be, right? So I didn't have any allergies. I was never sick. I didn't know what was happening, but I needed to move areas. So they moved me from California to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And I got off the phone. I remember just being on the phone. They're like, okay, well, there's still like, forests there. I'm like, no, I've been, over in the western parts of Colorado. I should be fine. It'll be great. Awesome. Like, yeah, send me to Wyoming. And then I hang up the phone. I just remember crying my eyes out because I thought, how am I going to live landlocked? I grew up on the beach. I'm from New York originally, and I wanted California because it was also beach, but a different way of being the beach, right?
Right.
So I called my mother, and my mother said, Rose, Jackson Hole is one of the most beautiful places on earth. Like, I think you will get through the summer at least. She's like, and then you can come back here. And I was like, I don't think I'm coming back there, but okay. Thank you for that, Mama. I love you. And then from there, I worked as a guide that summer. And then I realized I did not want to work for Backroads anymore. I wanted to live in Jackson Hole and work for the day guides. So that's what I did. And that is actually what I do to this day. So 14 years later, I still work as a mountain bike guide in the summertime. I do have a boss per se, but we actually make fun and we call him Boss Man, right? Hey, Boss Man. Because we're all doing our own thing. We basically, he gives us the group. We know how to load the bikes on the, back of the trucks, and then off we go and we do our tours. We know what to do. We know what to say, our storytelling, right? And being your own boss is great, but, and I don't even do that job for the money. I do it to get out and about, to meet people from all over the world coming to Jackson Hole, right? Yeah. Because they're just from everywhere. And so that's kind of like this beautiful side job that I do in the summertime so that I get away from my desk. So that I'm forced to get away from my desk, right? So I'm still working, but, so I plan it in a certain way. Because as if you're your own boss, right? So I work as a social media consultant. I also am the founder of the new club that I've started, the Social Media Secrets Club. It's like the business hub for people over 50 that really need to learn how to use social media and use it well for their business. Because a lot of people aren't using it exactly right, like with the right techniques. But then I do professional voiceover work. Sometimes people find me on YouTube and they're like, we love your voice. Like, here I go talking in my corporate voice, which everyone loves, right? So I don't really do well with voiceover unless I'm reading something. So I'll just read like this little mappy thing here, something that I can read without my glasses. Like, ACBA, American College of the Building Arts. Find us at acba.edu. Right, so there's a certain tone that I have that people like for that, which is that corporate sound. So I am hired for voiceover jobs that I record in my walk-in closet. I have a special area just for recording. I have a very expensive microphone that sits there, and I basically talk into the closet, into special foam pads, right? Because, everyone glamorizes this sometimes, like, wow, a social or, a voiceover talent. That's so exciting. Like, wow, the things you get to do. But here's the truth. I have a stage fright issue. Like, being on stage and having people look at me if I have to sing. Okay, so I have a music minor in college. I had a scholarship for 4 years, all years of my college years for my undergrad, and I had to sing in all these cathedrals and stuff. And I was so good at singing that they would give me solos, and I would think, I could do it. But then the day of the event would come, and I would tell my music teacher I can't do it, because I would just freeze up and just be, I can't do it. I'd cry, I'd go into panic mode. And so being a voiceover talent or a radio show host, I've had several other radio shows as well before I was syndicated. And I don't know, talking into a closet is helpful for me because I don't feel like I'm being judged, right? I can basically say what I want. I can say it in the tone that I want. I can talk up here. I can talk way down here, and then I have this beautiful, and it is like an art, right? Being a voiceover talent artist, there's lots of different names for us. Some people, they focus on cartoons or video games. I don't really do that type of work. I do rather, like videos, if you needed to explain your business and you wanted it more third person, Teresa, she knows her stuff. Let me tell you what. And then you're talking, right? And then you have me again saying, like, you want to know where she's at, and here it is, or whatever it is. I can be either behind the scenes or an MC at a live event because no one's really paying attention to me. You know, you're like that
Right.
voice that just floats around. And as your own boss, you know, like I have to commit to how I'm going to find these jobs. You know, if I'm going to join a website and I'm going to get stuff there, or I'm going to follow up with people that I've worked with previously. Same thing with my consulting, right? Because if I work with someone and then they're like, okay, I'm good. They're not really good when it comes to social media because it's changing all the time, right?
Exactly.
So
yeah.
My job to reach out to my past clients and say, hey, you know, here's this new offering I'm doing. I'm starting this new club. It's super exciting. But besides the club, I'm actually offering this free webinar. So if you think this works for you, or someone in your, you know, in your circles would benefit from it, please send it along because it's free. I just want to explain to people, because one of the free webinars that I'll be putting together is basically about it's kind of like the fake truths, you know, like the busted like I can't do this, or you know, like Facebook doesn't work anymore. I mean, all of these things are false, and so I give real reasons why it works and why and how it can work, with an example of like a past client. Like one of my clients actually went Hollywood. Well, in the sense of, this is a fun little story. They're a tannery, so that means they make animal pelts. Okay.
Okay.
So I had put them on Facebook a long time ago when Facebook was just starting, and I said, look, we got to get you like this branding. Like, what is the highest thing that you sell? And they said, well, we sell buffalo rugs or buffalo robes or coats. I said, okay, well, since that's the highest ticket item you got, what's better than the American bison? I'm talking about the bison all the time in the West and living in the West and in Wyoming. It all goes together. And so I basically started this plan for them. People would come into their store and they're like, oh, we love your Facebook page. We can't wait to see what you're going to post tomorrow. I mean, who does that happen to, right? But of course, I was behind the scenes doing it. That was when I did social media. Now I teach the social media.
Yeah.
And they were recognized by Quentin Tarantino's team. And they were asked to make 8 buffalo coats for the movie The Hateful Eight.
Cool. That's fantastic. And that's really neat that you can inspire even other business owners to get out there and do something with their lives. And being your own boss, she was just talking between our little chit chat off camera that she's been having some health issues, and we're mentioning how that being your own boss lady or boss woman, you can take time off for your health and take time off for you and do all the things that you want to do for in life, even from home. And we're both recording from different places, and it doesn't have to cost anything, very much money at all to get started. So it's just a matter of finding your passion and what you'd like to do. And I've interviewed a lot of other women that have full-time jobs, and they start their own business they're building up to be on their own.
And with COVID today too, some people that are older are being told to leave, like early retirement. Right. They're like, I'm not ready to retire, but I've always loved needle pointing or whatever it is that they've loved so much that they're starting their own businesses later in life. And this is why I love working with people that are older, because they're so typically, I mean, not everybody, a lot of the old crotchets that are like, I hate social media. And I'm like, that's okay. And they're like, what do you mean? Wait, don't you teach social media? I'm like, yeah, but if you don't like it, that's okay. It doesn't mean I don't like you. Right?
Right. And
so, you know, it's just about having fun in life. And, you know, being your own boss isn't always easy. It's not always, you know, the bowl of cherries, which, you know, but you do have a lot of freedom, which I love. Like right now, I'm traveling. I'm in a different location. I just took a walk on the beach and I really enjoyed it. I live in the mountains, but I'm from the beach. I still love the beach.
Right.
I take trips to actually clear my brain out, right? Like if I'm working too much or if there's too much going on, it actually helps me to be able to take a few days off from doing any type of texting or emailing and just taking a break, a mental break.
Right.
Because when I come back at it, I become more refreshed and more like, wow, I have so many ideas. I can't wait to share them with my clients or my social media, marketing secrets group, or, I can't wait to talk about this on my radio show. And I just get more energized. So you have to remember as your own boss that you need to take care of your health and you need to be able to, work when you can. And when you're not able to, you don't.
Right.
You really don't push it, because if you push it too hard, you will end up just like the same thing in the corporate world, working too much, too long hours, and not having a life. So it happens to us too as entrepreneurs. Sure. So when I feel like that's starting to happen to me, there's too much going on, or I basically. Well, I have it easy because I live in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. So in 5 minutes, I can be in the wild. I can just be in a quiet place where I basically reset, right?
Right.
But of course, I still have to look at all the things like how much money am I making each month? And, how long have I retained this client? And, can I get this other client back? Or, how can I make more money? Or how can I, there's, so for my radio show, there's this huge conference going on in Nashville, and I've never been to Nashville. So now this has become like this serious thing for me, like for outfit wise, like I have so many outfits in Nashville because I have to be Jackson Hole Rose. Like my persona is a lot when I'm there, and I have to sell myself to these other radio stations or, see if there's other opportunities for me that exist that are even better, right? Because we always want to try to be better. Right? We want to move forward and upward, never down, sideways or downward.
Well, and that's
moving forward and learning.
That's one thing I've gotten with other older ladies and things. Particularly one friend, after she retired, she was like, "Now what?" And and they don't plan for what after retirement. Maybe they're planning their financials for after retirement, but they don't plan their lives for after retirement.
Right.
And they get lost, and now what do I do?
Right.
Well, and like you said, if they wanted to, they planned to, we're going to travel when we retire. You can even turn that into a business and go into blogging and whatever.
Yes.
And your photography, and there's just so many things you could do and have fun being a boss person with your life. And I think that's the biggest thing, is to key into your passions when you want to become your own entrepreneur and be your own boss.
Absolutely. And they say that most business owners are in the 50-year-old range.
Yes. And so many are starting things way past 50. And you can, there's examples all through history of people that have, we talk about Nashville. I just thought about Minnie Pearl. I don't think she even stepped on stage till she was over 40. So
isn't that amazing? I know a woman who was an artist that was like, yeah, I turned 40 and then all of a sudden I was doing all these presidential busts. And I'm like, what? I was like studying human anatomy, and then I used clay, and then all of a sudden,
right.
Like, wow, okay. There's that, so yeah, those interesting things do happen, or your passions come out where you're like, gosh, I just never really tried, or I didn't have the wherewithal, or I just was so busy with work, or whatever it is. Something is not pushing you past that point. And that's kind of what I do as, all my jobs together. I look at them as a storyteller. So it's like, what kind of story do you need for social media? It could vary, right? It depends on your company. It depends on your age. It depends on who you're trying to get in there. It depends on if you have a product or a service. then you talk about the different platforms and you're like, well, different people are on different platforms. So if you're selling to young people, then maybe TikTok is
maybe you need to try TikTok.
Right?
Yeah.
Everyone's like this.
Yeah. Right.
TikTok, I don't know what you mean. But seriously, I can see all of the different platforms that are all the same to me. And I know exactly how to teach them so that it's just more simple. So I have a gift, and I am able to give that gift as a boss lady.
Well, and that's it. That's it. We need to key into our own gifts and passions and what we're intended to do in life. And more people don't realize that they can be a boss lady as well as working for someone else. It just kind of depends on where God's got your path and the way that He's leading you. So,
Right.
I think we're running a little bit short time. Again,
I hear my alarm going off, so I will turn it off. Okay.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us on Woman to Woman Wednesdays. And as always, I'm going to put all of her contact information in my in the comments with the videos. And she's going to join us tomorrow on Try It Thursdays and give us some tips about mountain biking, which is another one of her passions. Fun. Nothing but fun all the whole week. So thank you for joining us today, Rose, and we will see you tomorrow.
Thanks again for having me.